If you are 18 to 35 years old and feel the call to full-time ministry, I've got exciting news. Revival Today Bible Institute this fall, September 2022. If you feel the call of God into full-time ministry, a strong biblical foundation is essential. However, education alone is insufficient. Sound biblical training coupled with the power of the Holy Spirit is the vital dynamic duo. God has called Jonathan and I to open up a training school that offers live, on-campus classes to equip the next generation in fulfilling the call of God in their lives. Revival Today Bible Institute's mission is to raise ministers of excellence who deliver the gospel of Jesus Christ in word and in power. Will you join us? Will you join us in seeing this generation transformed by the gospel of Jesus Christ? If you want more information or you want to apply, go to revivaltodaybibleinstitute.com. I love you. See you there.
Everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to Check the Market. Nancy, D&D Investments from Portland, Oregon. Naveed, Michael, Ninja, Twin 2 Chanel, Leslie, good morning to you. How's everybody doing? Markets were kind of flat yesterday. And today, the futures are down, but we do have some good news. We'll go over it in a little bit.
I like good news.
So,
You know, I like crappy news too.
yeah,
It means something good's on the horizon.
Lucy, Jesus Girl Forever, good morning to you. Michelle, welcome to Check the Market. Nancy, welcome everybody. Make sure you share the broadcast with all your friends, family, village. Oh, we're doing great, Nancy. Thank you.
Way to speak on behalf of a woman, Patrick.
Sorry. I apologize.
I'm just getting off.
Go ahead.
Thanks for giving me this space. We're doing well.
Awesome. Well, let's get into it. See what's going on today.
Check what's going on. Voters aren't punishing GOP candidates over January 6th Capitol attack. They're backing them. They're very interesting from Bloomberg. Coming out, there's a couple of different MSM establishment media publications that are pushing this kind of narrative. We'll see where it goes, but a lot of people are slowly starting to pay attention to January 6th, more so now than even when everything was blowing up in the media. So
yeah.
Interesting stuff. Yes, Bethany, what even is women? From women to women, I don't know. Next.
Jeez.
Scoop from Christopher Rufo, a coalition of taxpayer-funded trans organizations has demanded that society decolonize the gender binary, provide cash reparations to gender non-conforming people, and affirm mustaches and that as authentic expressions of womanhood. Speaking of what is a woman, Bethany, it looks like we have to expand that definition of just female adult to all these other things. But this is what they're pushing in schools. So just be aware of what your kids are learning. Next. So interesting, a Calgary gun and ammunition store owner says handgun sales in the city have skyrocketed this week. This is after Justin Trudeau said that we're going to put potentially in 2 years, year and a half, 2 years after this piece of legislation, crap legislation, might pass on a handgun freeze. This is not just happening in Calgary, Alberta. This is happening in Saskatchewan, Ontario, Quebec. Quebec is having record sales. So anytime that Trudeau goes for this kind of crap, because he can't outright ban guns, even though there's a 1,500 gun ban essentially last year that came into play, he can't outright ban guns. So very interesting to see. The farther they push, the farther the people push back. Next. From Lila Rose, pro-abortion investors are trying to pressure public companies to back abortion, oppose life-saving pro-life laws, and pay for their employees to kill their children through abortion. Investors voted on these resolutions, and they have failed. I was actually interested to see this coming out of Walmart. I wouldn't expect this probably from Target, and I can't say that necessarily. Target investors.
It would be the shareholders because they decide.
Exactly. So I was very interested to see this from those at Walmart. Next. This happened over the weekend. Canadian Member of Parliament Kathy Wagenthal was forced out of Parliament by Trudeau and company for refusing to publicly disclose her vaccination status. Canadians elected Kathy. She has a right to be in the House of Commons to serve her constituents. So the...
Cathay.
It's Kathy. And correcting a woman today too, Patrick. My goodness.
It says Cathay.
Yes.
There's an airline called Cathay Pacific, and that's how you spell it, Cathay Pacific.
But she's Canadian, so Kathy.
Kathy, okay.
Yeah. But the Sergeant at Arms ushered her out of Parliament, and this was like a complete precedent that was set because she said she's not releasing her vaccination status, but she has not been in the House of Commons the whole time that this whole fiasco has been going on in Canada. But she isn't able to travel via plane or train to get to Ottawa to represent her constituents. But when she shows up for the National Prayer Breakfast, the day before this happened, Trudeau was standing right beside her, both of them not masked. And yet she's ushered out the next day of Parliament because of her vaccination status or refusal, there you go, refusal to provide one. So there she is standing next to Trudeau. But there's parliamentary privilege in this matter, and it's being denied to her. So Canada is interesting spot at this point in time. Next. Was this mine? Actors, we have a gun problem in this country. Also actors. Alec Baldwin, many actors have made a significant effort to reduce gun violence in films. Was this from you?
No, ouch.
I didn't throw this in there, but good find, you guys.
Wow.
Dang. Next. Breaking now, Elon Musk threatens to abandon $44 billion Twitter deal as he slams the social media giant for resisting and thwarting his right to details on spam and fake accounts. I'm actually happy he's threatening this. Very happy. Texas, I believe it was. Also, just the AG sued Twitter.
Yeah.
So that was a development that just happened as well. Fascinating stuff. Next.
Couldn't be happier. Next.
Okay. What are these coming from? Next. Oh, jeez. These again. I could see you doing this, Patrick.
Wait, this oh my god. Oh no, my ear. No, wait, cut.
Next.
These are the things I used to do in college too.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just with the boys, you know.
The boys. I feel like you were like the isolated dude with the policy book sitting in the library. I mean, that's a great thing because that was
Yeah.
me too. 'Cause we're the brains, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm more of the slapping each other with pancakes in college.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But at that point, cameras were, well, I mean, I guess, but it wasn't like,
Cameras weren't around back
no,
then,
they
Patrick.
they were, but it wasn't like you had your phone,
Exactly.
you know?
Yes.
So you couldn't film it and put it on TikTok and
There
stuff.
you go. What a day to have Patrick on uni days on TikTok. That'd be special. From TMZ, Tampa Bay Rays players refused to wear the gay pride logo on their uniforms this weekend, saying their religious beliefs won't allow it, but also saying they accept everyone. So there's 5 players who took this stand. Some people chose to take a knee last 2 years to BLM. These guys standing up for righteousness. So I was very happy to see this. Next. That's priceless, you guys. Well done finding those videos. Next.
That's actually footage.
That's actually footage, yes. Why are we laughing at it? Unelected New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed sweeping new measures into law today that range from broad gun control measures to social media monitoring. So ownership of guns has been put up to 21, amongst various other, like you can't get a bullet vest, amongst other things in New York State. So my guess is this may be taken to the state Supreme Court, like many.
They have elections this year, right? In New York.
I believe so. Yes, they do. This is 2022. Yes, they do. Next. The White House issued an emergency declaration that stops commerce from punishing foreign solar panel companies who violate U.S. law by using Chinese government subsidies, Uyghur slave labor, and dirty coal production. Shameful. So this was just released. I believe there's another, the White House press secretary, Jean-Pierre, Karina. I believe there's a video after this that I wanted to show explaining this more so. Do we have that? Cool.
Great. On the solar panels, how is this not a gift to Chinese solar manufacturers, who many of whom operate with forced labor and are subsidized by the Chinese Communist Party?
Today's announcement is about one country and one country alone, and it's about the United States.
Yes.
It's about the reliability of our power, of our power grid. It's about reducing cost for American families, and it's about enabling domestic solar manufacturers to move forward with their projects.
Is it?
The actions that we're currently doing is being applauded by members of Congress, by labor, by climate groups, by U.S. CEOs, and domestic solar manufacturers as well. The actions do not apply to any materials imported from China. Import duties will remain in place on solar cells and panels from China or Taiwan. So it has nothing to do with either. It's about making sure that we're delivering for the American public.
I love how she says it's about enabling people in the U.S. when it's actually enabling the adversaries of the U.S.
Well, yeah, you gotta pay them back somehow.
Well, somehow, for all they did. It's just like enabling the Taliban over in Afghanistan, Biden meeting with Saudi Arabia's leadership. It's all just stuff. Next. Disclose how Obama administration officials conducted shadow diplomacy with Iran to undermine Trump. Let's see it. Senior Obama administration officials engaged in a secret meeting with Iran in 2018. Ugh, my words. As part of an effort to undermine the Trump administration's diplomatic push to isolate the hardline regime, according to an internal State Department document, as the Trump administration worked to increase economic pressure on Iran in 2018, a delegation of the U.S. former ambassadors held a secret, off-the-record meeting with former Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif at his residence in New York City, according to a State Department memo unearthed this week as part of a lawsuit brought to compel the release of this information. The meeting took place around the same time John Kerry was reported to be working behind the scenes with Iranian officials to salvage the 2015 nuclear accord. Continue. The internal memo, which is marked unclassified, details how these former U.S. ambassadors conducted shadow diplomacy with Iran's top envoy surrounding nuclear weapons, potential prisoner swaps, the Afghanistan withdrawal, and negotiations with the Taliban. According to the American Center for Law and Justice, the ACLJ, a legal advocacy group that sued the State Department to obtain the internal memo. The document is the foremost proof to date that Obama-era officials were engaged in back-channel efforts to keep negotiations with Iran alive. Even as former President Donald Trump and his administration worked to isolate the regime, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told the Free Beacon in exclusive remarks. Pompeo, who was not aware of these meetings while leading the State Department, said the memo corroborates reports from the time about Kerry's efforts to salvage the 2015 nuclear deal through back-channel powwows with Iranian officials. So this is a very, very extensive article. You can go read it yourself at the Free Beacon. But this is in direct violation of the Logan Act of 1799, so which criminalizes unauthorized citizens from going and making deals, cutting deals with foreign adversaries at the time of the United States. So Kerry being found out here, don't know if there will be justice on this, but the fact that I don't feel like there will be. But the fact that this is out in the light, I'm grateful for. People need to know who Kerry is. And if you want an interesting study, go through a deep dive into some creepy dark pasts, look into John Kerry a little bit more.
My question is, how did the Iranian foreign minister, how does he have a residence in New York?
It's a good question. It's a very good question.
You're taking some billionaire's yacht who runs a legitimate business. You're seizing their assets and seizing their yachts.
From Russia.
But you're letting somebody have,
Residency from Iran.
Own real estate. Not just anybody, I don't care if an Iranian has it.
No.
An Iranian foreign minister who works with that regime.
Exactly. Sketch beyond belief. Next.
Target shares fall 8% as it expects squeezed profits from aggressive plan to get rid of unwanted inventory. Let's see it. Target warned investors Tuesday that its profits will take a short-term hit. This is why they're saying that the market's down pre-market. Target warned investors Tuesday that its profits will take a short-term hit as it marks down unwanted items, cancels orders, and takes aggressive steps to get rid of extra inventory. The retailer slashed its profits margin expectations for the fiscal quarter to account for a wave of goods winding up deeply discounted or on the clearance rack. So Bethany, that's for you. There's going to be a wave of goods winding up deeply discounted and on the clearance rack at Target. Shares fell up about 8% in pre-market trading following the news. We thought it was prudent for us to be decisive, act quickly, get out in front of this, address and optimize our inventory in the second quarter, take those actions necessary to remove the excess inventory, and set ourselves up to continue to be guest relevant with our assortment. By taking swift action, Cornell said Target can fend off further pain and make room for merchandise that customers do want, such as groceries, beauty items, household essentials, and seasonal categories like back-to-school supplies. He said the company's stores and website are seeing strong traffic and a very resilient customer. So this, from what I see here, it looks like they'll be getting rid of a lot of their consumer discretionary stuff.
Awesome.
To make inventory.
For people who are pinching pennies right now, this is probably good news.
Yeah. We want to make sure that we continue to lean into those categories that are relevant today. Continue. Yeah, that's right, Michael. Target anticipates its operating margin rate for the second quarter to be around 2%. That's lower than the outlook it gave less than 3 weeks ago, when it anticipated its operating margin rate would be roughly around its first quarter operating margin rate of 5.3%. But at that point, gas wasn't as much as it is now, too. In the back half of the year, Target anticipates profit margins will be in range around 6%, better than its average performance for the fall season in the years before the pandemic began. Retailers from Walmart to Gap face a glut of inventory as inflation-pinched shoppers skip over categories that were popular during the first 2 years of the pandemic. Gap, for instance, said customers want party dresses and office clothes instead of the many fleece hoodies and active clothes the company has. Walmart said some families are making fewer discretionary purchases and the market's Dow Jones down 266 points. The S&P 500 is down 34 points, and the NASDAQ is down 143 points. Oil is down to $118 a barrel.
Whew.
Let's take a look here. Bitcoin, I believe, is down too. The overall crypto market is down 5.61%. Bitcoin is down 5.96%, 29,528. Ethereum 1753, it's down 8.4%. Binance BNB is down 8.9%, and that's on news of investigations by the SEC. Let's see what else here. XRP, where are you at? XRP is at 39 cents. Avalanche at 23.81. Those are just a few of the cryptocurrencies. That's where they're opened up this morning. Continue. Daily affirmations for the rich. I'll become the richest person alive. The owners are very normal. I have more uncles than the average man. I have so many businesses. Yes. Those are some good affirmations. Continue, print it out, put it on your mirror. Next. Bipartisan crypto overhaul seeks to treat most digital assets as commodities and empower the CFTC. By Thomas Frank. Let's see it. As excited as Wall Street and Main Street were to have crypto as the new investment idea and store of value, the speed at which cryptocurrencies entered mainstream U.S. markets caused proportionate angst for U.S. regulators, who were equipped with only decades-old securities laws to police an industry many still refer to as the financial Wild West. I don't think U.S. regulators are even prepared for online trading at this point. But after months of research, industry consultation, and bipartisan teamwork, Senators Kirsten Gillibrand and Cynthia Lummis said Tuesday that they are ready to debut the first major attempt to place guardrails around the nascent industry. Their bill, titled the Responsible Financial Innovation Act, amounts to regulatory overhaul that would classify the vast majority of digital assets as commodities like wheat, oil, or steel. As such, the bipartisan legislation would also leave the bulk of oversight responsibility to Commodity Futures Trading Commission, which I think is better than the SEC, and not the Securities and Exchange Commission, as some had expected. Gillibrand, a Democrat from New York who sits on the Senate Agriculture Committee, and Loomis, a first-term Republican from Wyoming, both of these Congress women have owned Bitcoin, owned cryptocurrencies. So they have some skin in the game. So they're not just doing that to do it. They're actually working on it to put some guardrails around it to protect, investors as best they can, even though we don't need protecting. Wyoming on the Banking Committee said the legislation is the culmination of months of collaboration in the House and Senate and represents a critical first attempt to structure the markets for digital assets with long-awaited legal definitions. Next. I agree, Kenny. Why nuclear energy is on the verge of a renaissance. By Cathay Clifford. After humankind discovered nuclear fission, the first applied use was the atomic bomb. The study of fission for electricity production came later. In December 1953, President Dwight D. Eisenhower gave his fateful Atoms for Peace speech an impassioned plea to reconstitute the power of the atomic bombs dropped in World War II for a more noble cause. Against the dark background of the atomic bomb, the United States does not wish merely to present strength, but also desire and the hope for peace, Eisenhower told the United Nations. Almost 70 years later, the tension between those end users still underlies the space today. So from 1950s through the 1970s, the United States dramatically increased its nuclear energy generation, but the 3 Mile Island accident in 1979, Chernobyl meltdown in 1986, changed the landscape, spurring fear that nuclear energy could not be controlled safely. Continue. Since the 1980s, nuclear energy capacity and generation in the U.S. has largely stayed flat because up until this year, it was not green energy. But we were talking about this last year on Check the Market, that this is going to happen here very soon.
Fascinating.
Where they're going to put nuclear energy into like a green category. To Today, the country's fleet of nuclear power reactors produce only 19% of the country's electricity, according to the government's Energy Information Administration. So they're because of Fukushima. But now you see more articles like this. This is from CNBC. This is not Fox Business or anything like this.
Wow.
So this is actually from from NBC basically. That's largely because nuclear energy is clean energy. Interesting to hear that. Releasing no greenhouse gases. Interesting. This is what we've been saying for years. Meanwhile, the world is seeing more of the effects of climate change, including rising global temperatures, increased pollution, wildfires, and more intense and deadly storms. We need to change course now and end our senseless and suicidal war against nature, Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, said in Stockholm on Thursday. So now nuclear energy is getting a second look. It is now green energy, which is what it was all along. The cleanest form of energy, actually, and the most efficient. I guess they're starting to see that with all those electric vehicles and all the electrification of everything that they're pushing, they're going to need more electricity. So they're going to need more nuclear power plants.
What country in the EU was it that just like last week shut off their nuclear power plants?
Oh, probably Germany.
I think it was Germany.
Yeah, they've been shutting them down. They shut down, after Fukushima in Japan, after that happened, they shut down most of their nuclear power plants, and then they started buying electricity from France,
Yes,
which hasn't shut down their nuclear power plants.
exactly.
So it's still nuclear power, but just not. But there's always been protests in Germany with nuclear power.
Really?
Yeah, in front of almost every single one of them, there was always
Fascinating.
climate protesters saying that, you're killing everybody because of Chernobyl and whatnot.
Now that these figureheads at the UN are promoting it,
Yeah.
they'll all jump on board.
But if you look at Chernobyl, if you look at what happened there with the investigation, and even like I watched that Chernobyl special on HBO.
Yep.
It's fascinating. It was all because of incompetence, basically,
Yeah.
that happened. It wasn't because it wasn't an accident.
Nope.
And so if you can run these nuclear power plants safely and efficiently, make sure that competent people are running them, then it's safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Biden's running Germany too. Next. Here's the Dow top performers during rate hike cycles. It's United Healthcare, so you can see the 15 to 18 cycle, the 04 to 06 cycle, and the 1999 through 2000 cycle when they were increasing the rates. And those are the percentages that these companies went up. Goldman Sachs went up 27 and 21%. American Express, which credit card companies usually do a little bit better because they get more interest on their, from credit card fees. Which more Americans have been using their credit cards again, and credit card debt has been going up. So a lot of these companies, that might actually be a good play.
Interesting.
Next. 1933. He wasn't born in 1933. Age 15, $0, burlap sacks, freelance intern, pathetic adventures. 22, age 38, 200 million, fine leather, CEO mentality, excellent adventures, red or blue Lambo. There you have it.
Still has the hair.
That's how quickly things can change. Next. Veteran Chinese economist urges China to seize TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation. Isn't that interesting?
I'm very interested.
This was when we
Wow.
had this company as a stock pick last year. That was one of the biggest risks that I saw with this
Yeah.
company, is that potentially China could seize them. But Taiwan is actually doing some great things. Let's see the article. A veteran Chinese economist called on authorities in an online post to capture the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, lest the U.S. hit China with destructive sanctions akin to Russia. Chen Wenling serves as the chief economist at the China Center for International Economic Exchanges, run by China's top economic planning agency, the National Development and Reform Commission. Especially in the reconstruction of the industrial chain and supply chain, we must seize TSMC. Chen said in a speech hosted by the Chinese university and later posted online by the nationalistic news website. Continue. Chen expressed concerns over media stories reporting TSMC speeding up transfer to the U.S. via the construction of 6 TSMC factories. TSMC is one of the largest producers of semiconductors in the world. And one of the biggest risks was, yeah, I'm glad that they're actually doing something about it, because what if China did invade Taiwan?
Yeah.
That would be a global shortage unlike anything that we've seen before in semiconductors. But they're moving a lot of their construction to the U.S.
Right.
So even if that does happen, there's not going to be a supply shock.
Yeah.
Which there probably will, because the media is going to freak out and everybody's going to freak out. But in reality, if these factories in the U.S. are up and running,
Yeah.
it's not going to be as bad as it would be.
Exactly.
Yes, TSMC is a leading contract manufacturer of semiconductors, accounting for over 50% of the global foundry market. So that's it's interesting there that they're doing that, which is great. Next. Binance faces U.S. investigation over BNB token. So Binance, the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission is investigating whether Binance Holdings broke securities rules by selling its BNB token just as the crypto exchange was getting off the ground 5 years ago. So they're doing the same thing with Binance, or about the same thing as they did with XRP. They're, sad. Maybe they didn't get the fees that they thought they were supposed to get. Gary Gensler didn't get his Lambo. So now he's going after him. Let's see it. Okay, next. CEO, we need to enter the next phase of COVID-19 surveillance. I just thought this was interesting. This is a company called QGen. Let's see it. Diagnostic manufacturer like QGen, whatever, are scrambling to develop tests for monkeypox as the global outbreak continues to concern public health officials. QGen CEO Thierry Bernard told Yahoo Finance in an interview Monday that the company has been watching the outbreak's trajectory as it helps the Centers for Disease Control create a new test. To really see if there will be a massive acceleration of cases will be around the week of June 20th, adding that cases appear to be increasing threefold week over week. So this might be a good one to take a look at. QGEN, they are publicly traded as they try to develop, it's not going to be a big deal, but if there's some sort of hysteria about it in the media, then this company is going to go up and you're going to make some money. Still, cases are not yet at a level that would lead to the type of testing needed for COVID. We are not at the level yet where we need to say it's going to be a pandemic. Also, this is a German company, just like BioNTech. Still, the company, like others, is working on a new PCR test known as the gold standard for testing to detect monkeypox for labs. Continue. Trading at 46.25. In addition, QIAGEN is currently providing the CDC with DNA components to help develop a test for the virus that can be decentralized and used at all local level public health offices and clinics. So they saw that Pfizer made $37 billion in the first quarter of this year. And they're like, you know what? Pretty sure we could do that too. QIAGEN is also the center of the country's expansion of COVID-19 surveillance, as more at-home testing is leaving the CDC and other federal officials without a central database of real-time spread. So here's what they're doing. Let's see it. COVID has not disappeared, Bernard said. The CDC, it's never disappeared. It's always been there. The CDC recently approved QIAGEN's wastewater surveillance testing.
Oh, it's all the wastewater.
In order to help keep watch on which parts of the country are currently experiencing surges, as part of what Bernard calls the next generation of testing for the pandemic. I mean, if you think about it, pretty smart.
To test wastewater?
Yeah, to test wastewater and to try and be the company at the forefront of it. Because you're going to make money.
Yes, you are going to make money.
Because the CDC still wants statistics. They want to know what's going on. They're losing control. People don't care. They're not on interviews anymore. We don't see, so this is how we continue having our 15 minutes of fame.
Right. Bang on.
Next. Jim Cramer. Good news, great news, everybody. Jim Cramer says to buy the dip in oil stocks. It's over. Oil's going back down.
Stay away from everything else.
Stay away from everything else. So he wants you to invest in oil,
Nothing.
probably because he has a big short on oil, and he's going to be making a ton of money. So stay away from everything else. Buy the dip in oil stocks. Do not buy the dip in oil stocks. Sell all your oil stocks. Jim Cramer says to buy the dip in oil stocks. This is great news. This is excellent news. Oil going down to $25 a barrel.
Absolutely.
I mean, if Jim Cramer, if he's buying oil stocks,
Yeah.
party's over.
You're screwed.
So we'll see if this stands up to the inverse Cramer test. That whatever he says, the opposite happens.
Oh dear.
Next. Oh, some more good news. Wendy's unveils limited time strawberry frosty for summer. For all my Wendy's fans out there, strawberry
important.
frosty.
Watch those stocks go through the roof.
Oh yeah. Next.
The last one.
Or continue. Well, that's it. All right. Let's take a look at some stocks to research. So I was looking at some stocks, and this one, I ran across an article on it, so I started looking into it. It's a company more on the high-risk side called Cedar Fair. Cedar Fair. F-U-N is the ticker symbol. F-U-N. They're the owner of 11 amusement parks, including Cedar Point here in Sandusky, Ohio. And 4 water parks. They also have hotels, RV parks, etc. They just saw record revenue through Memorial Day. It's looking like it might be a good buy and fairly cheaply valued. I think they're only trading at around 7x price to earnings ratio. I could be wrong, or 11x. I left my piece of paper upstairs. Between 7 and 11. 7 and 11. They could be a good summer play through the next 3 months, see if they continue with their forecasts in the winter. Since there are more local parks, people could potentially be going to those instead of going to Florida or
Yep.
California and spending all that money on, I think that this could be potentially a play. I could see it playing out like that, where, more people go to those and
Yep.
just make a day trip out of it, or a 2-day trip. If you live in Ohio, go to Cedar Point. If you live in New
Yeah.
York, go to whatever the ones there's called, Pennsylvania, wherever else. Season passes and bookings have skyrocketed with the lifting of COVID restrictions. People want to get out and enjoy the summer like it's 2019. So this could be a good one. Take a look at it. F-U-N, Cedar Fair. Then we also talked about uranium, so I wanted to give you a couple. There's one that I'm invested in. It's called URNM, the Sprott Uranium Miners ETF. That's one that I'm invested in, and I bought some more when it dropped. It was like 3 weeks ago. I bought a couple more shares, and but there are some more. There's the SRUUF. I know I've had this one on here before. It's the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. This one is an over-the-counter. It's a Canadian-based publicly listed physical uranium fund. So this fund, like a gold fund, buys uranium and they hold it, and they just, they sell basically paper uranium. So you can own uranium, even though if you actually own uranium, you'd probably get your doors kicked in by the FBI and everybody
Probably.
else.
Hey, it's worth a try.
Sprott Asset Manager is the investment manager of the company, so it's kind of like holding paper gold. But SRUUF, it's traded over the counter, so you can't trade it on SRUUF. You can't trade it on Robinhood or Cash App. It would need to be with TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, one of those companies. And then URA, which is the Global X Uranium ETF. This investment seeks to provide investment results that correspond to the price and yield performance of the global uranium and nuclear components total return index. So this is an ETF comprised of the world's largest uranium producers. So this could be one that you can take a look at as well. This is more of a long-term play for me because I think that they are going to continue pushing more for nuclear energy, possibly building some more, and then you've seen some technology come out on it, like what Bill Gates did with investing, or Bill Gates fund is investing in small uranium, small reactors that will run off the waste from big nuclear energy companies, and they're not the only ones.
Right.
There's a bunch of them. I like that. So URNM, the Sprott Uranium Miners ETF, URA, Global X Uranium ETF, SRUUF, and this is long term for me. This is 3 to 5 years and beyond.
Wow.
Cedar Fair, FUN, that's a high risk, and that's more of a just over the summer. As those parks get packed, I'm sure that there's going to be, news and forecasts that come out about how great they're doing, which will keep the stock going up. But I'll probably sell it before their next earnings call.
Michael says someone asked about bond ETFs earlier. Any recommendations?
Bond ETFs? I'm invested in one. I just forget the name of it. I'll have some bond ETFs for you tomorrow, if you're interested in investing in bond ETFs. I'll get those ready for tomorrow, so make sure you tune in tomorrow if you want to know about some bond ETFs. If you'd like me to look up any other stocks for you, you can put them in the comment section, and I'll take a look at them for you, whether you're invested or not. And know that if I do take a look at them and I don't like them, that's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying that you shouldn't invest in them. If you feel to invest, obviously you want to do your own research. But if you'd like to invest in Revival today, we'll give you an opportunity to do that now. There are the ways to give. #donate on Facebook. Text RT to 50155. $RTGive. Venmo @RTGive. RevivalToday.com/PayPal. Then we accept cryptocurrency. And you can send it by mail. Revival Today, P.O. Box 7, Prosperity, PA 15329. Jonathan says, how can you buy Ilios penny stocks and non... Can you scroll up real quick? On the YouTube comments. And non-NASDAQ stocks. Webull doesn't allow me to. You have to go with like a bigger platform, like TD Ameritrade or one of those. That's who I use. I use Charles Schwab and TD Ameritrade to trade over-the-counter penny stocks, things that aren't actually listed on an exchange. If I want to invest in them. What are we doing for a giveaway today? Buy the dip. There we go. So if you'd like that shirt, buy the dip. As Jim Cramer says, buy the dip in oil.
You need to get a pair of suspenders.
I actually
Red
do. I do have a
suspenders.
pair somewhere.
You need to dig them up. Wear them on the show at least once.
I don't know.
All the
I didn't
people-
like
all
them.
the
I didn't
people
like
will
them that much.
No, you don't do it for you. You do it for the people.
I guess. I'll dress like Jim Cramer.
There you go.
All right, so we'll send that to you. Make sure you claim your offer. I'm almost finished with a book, and I kind of like it, so I think I'm going to offer it on here as well.
Ooh.
RevivalToday.com/offer. Look at that, check the
Look
market.
at that.
I like that graphic. Great
Nice.
job to whoever made that. Oh, man.
Good one, Michael.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Tune back in tomorrow. Go out there and make some money today, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Money friends and the CTM crew. Yes. Crypto Island, yo boy. Crypto Island, yo boy. Crypto Island, yo boy. We are the BOD, yeah. Crypto Island boy, yeah. Crypto Island boy, yeah. Shout out to P Money friends and the CTM crew. Gotta hear from the Island boys, yeah. Big shout out to y'all, man. Check the market. All right.